All right, so we are talking about Syria, and the United States is trying to decide if they're going to go to war with Syria. So if you remember, we have two central questions, right? When we're dealing with the Middle East. What are our two central questions?
How is the violence in the Middle East connected with the physical geography and history?
Good. All right, what's our second one? Yeah.
How is the culture of the Middle East changing for young people and others, and what is the role of the U.S. in that change?
All right, so these are our two central questions. We're focusing them on Syria right now. And the first thing we talked about yesterday was where Syria is. This is Syria right here. It's bordered by Turkey, Iraq, Jordan, Lebanon, and Israel. What's significant about our second central question and this country that's bordering Syria? What's the connection between that country and the U.S. currently? What just happened there? A war. All right. Who is right here that we give a lot of money to?
Israel.
Israel. All right. So we have an ally right here. All right. What religion is predominant in this region? Islam. Okay. So basic geography. Syria, surrounded by Lebanon, Israel, Jordan, Iraq, and Turkey. Okay. So we started to tell our story in 1918. Before that, we just said that it was a time of empire. So Arab troops, led by Faisal, were supported by British forces, overtook Syria around 1918. So right at the end of what? World War I. Right? So our story kind of starts at World War I. We're going to break our story down into a couple parts. All right, our story pre-1918 we're just going to call the time of empire. So Ottoman ruled for 400 years, time of empire. So from 1918 until when did French troops leave Syria? 1946. What ended in 1946? World War II. All right? So it has a colonial story up until 1946. So it goes from empire to a colony. Then they get this leader in 1970. What was his name? Yep.
Is that right?
Yep. Which family is still in power?
Assad.
Right? So we see our story starting to take shape. We're going to say the story of the Assad family is the story of domestic war and foreign war, which plays a big part for what we're talking about now. Because what's going on there now? Civil war. Good. Y'all are giggly today.
It's Friday.
All right, so Civil War leads us into what President Obama is giving speeches about and carrying out unprecedented tasks and things like that with the chemical weapons within the midst of a civil war in Syria. Are we all up on that? Everyone knows what we're talking about?
Yes.
Okay. So, there have been new developments even since our last class. I want to show you a little snippet. Maybe that's the word. Obama said this the other night.
It's like a 15-minute video. 2 hours later.
He did not say this.
Are we
It's
still
on the
videotaping
commercial.
this?
Yeah, how long is it?
2 hours later. 2 hours later.
How long is it?
Almost 6 minutes.
Do I like
Hey,
mine?
I'm single. I want to like hit me up like a
Alright.
single for you to date with me like I'm single and I'm awesome.
Pinprick strike in Syria. Let me make something clear. The United States military doesn't do pinpricks. Even a limited strike will send a message to Assad that no other nation can deliver. I don't think we should remove another dictator with force. We learned from Iraq that doing so makes us responsible for all that comes next. But a targeted strike can make Assad, or any other dictator, think twice before using chemical weapons.
So what's Obama's position?
He doesn't want to go to war.
What's he saying, do you think? What's his position?
He doesn't want to be responsible for what happens next.
So we're a little gray on what he wants. Would we agree with that?
Yeah.
I mean, those are kind of strong words, though. He's saying our military doesn't do pinprick attacks. If we attack, we're attacking you. You're going to notice. But he's also gone to Congress to get Congress approval. What about this article that we read by Christoph? What's his opinion?
He wants to arm the rebels.
He wants to arm the rebels, which he calls moderate rebels, which we're going to find out today what he means by that. He wants to do a limited cruise missile strike. We're going to learn what that means. But he's very much for going to war. Vladimir Putin. Who is he? President of Russia published an op-ed in the New York Times this week saying that we probably should not go to war, saying we should use diplomacy. He comes out with some pretty strong statements. He says, but force has proved ineffective and pointless in Afghanistan, as Afghanistan is reeling, and no one can say what will happen after international forces withdraw. Someone's going to talk about Afghanistan today. He mentions Libya. Someone's going to talk about Libya today. But ultimately, he's saying, if we can avoid force against Syria, this will improve the atmosphere in international affairs and strengthen mutual trust. It will be our shared success and open the door to cooperation on other critical issues. So Putin, the leader of a rather powerful country, is saying absolutely don't go to war. So we're charged with deciding, are we going to go to war or not? So we need to know a lot more stuff. We need to know about Afghanistan, missile strikes, what's going on in Libya, all these things. And so let's find out about those things. Okay? So the first thing Christoph mentions in his article that we don't know about is, he says, when I was a law student in 1982, I escaped towards by backpacking through Syria and taking a public bus to Hama, where the government had suppressed a rebellion by massacring some 20,000 people. So we need to find out what happened in Hama in 1982. So Taylor's going to tell us about that.
Can I stop?
It's okay.
Can I stop?
Yeah.
Or keep going?
Stop.